has to be authentic.
I'm authentic. Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just tell you, the timing of that.
But by the way, that wasn't yesterday.
No,
that was 4 years ago.
She didn't hold the child, didn't soothe him when Archie started crying. And the worst part was, Archie didn't even recognize her. Meghan and Harry thought they could hide it forever. But then the truth began to leak when a flight crew member made the bold decision to break the silence. She recounted a moment where Meghan appeared utterly detached from the child, said to be her own. No cuddling, no comforting when the baby cried, and shockingly, the child didn't acknowledge her as his mother. Meanwhile, Harry sat silently next to them. And from that testimony, a wave of seemingly insane theories suddenly started to make sense. Could it be that Meghan never actually gave birth? Could the entire image of the perfect family be nothing more than a meticulously staged performance? Now Harry and Meghan are in panic not because of public scrutiny, but because the carefully constructed mask they've worn for years is now crumbling. The palace is holding emergency meetings to determine whether to strip their children of succession rights, and the final outcome will be revealed in the video that follows. 1. The flight crew breaks the silence. This didn't come from a tabloid. It wasn't a smear campaign from the press. It came from a place no one expected: British Airways, a flagship airline that once accompanied a glamorous royal tour. And for the first time, a member of the flight crew chose to speak up. A testimony powerful enough to shatter the image of the perfect mother Meghan tried so hard to paint. The flight attendant spoke with a voice that could barely hide her unease during the hours-long flight. Meghan Markle did not once display affection or emotional connection toward the child, said to be her own. She didn't look at Lilibet or Archie with warmth, didn't smile, didn't lean in to talk or comfort them. Between them existed only a chilling, icy distance. Instead, the nanny handled everything, feeding, soothing, diaper changes, calming. Meghan sat apart, quiet, and cold. Focused on her iPad, sipping champagne, entirely unmoved by her child's cries, the very sound that instinctively alarms any mother. But Meghan offered only blank, indifferent glances. And then came the most shocking part, not from Meghan, but from the baby. A child, under 1 year old, who should naturally respond to their mother, seeking her out, smiling, or at the very least, finding comfort in familiar skin. But no, this child did not react. When Lilibet cried, the baby did not reach for her mother's warmth. When Meghan approached, the child turned away, startled, even recoiled, into the nanny's arms, as if Meghan were a stranger. You see, a baby, even without words, always knows who their mother is. By scent, by heartbeat, by voice. If a child rejects contact, if their eyes are vacant, and their body physically pulls away, that's not a random behavior. That's deep emotional distance. That's the gap forged by months of absence, no care, no affection. And yet Meghan sat there, unmoved, and Harry, the husband, the father, remained silent. He watched it all unfold, didn't step in, didn't hold his child, didn't correct his wife, not a word. No anger, no concern, just familiarity. As if this was a routine he'd seen many times before, and he had simply stopped reacting. The flight crew concluded with a sentence that left even seasoned media veterans speechless. There was never a real mother-child moment on that flight. If we hadn't been told, we'd never have guessed they were mother and child. 2. DL, the surrogate whistleblower. It all began with a seemingly trivial moment on a flight. Meghan Markle sitting next to Archie and Lilibet, showing total emotional detachment, no loving glance, no comforting words when the children grew restless. That moment, if viewed alone, could have easily been dismissed as simple exhaustion from a long journey, but it didn't stand alone. It became the final puzzle piece, linking a chain of whispers that had been circulating behind closed doors since 2019. Did Meghan Markle ever actually give birth? A question once considered absurd now finds new fuel from a shocking testimony by a mysterious woman known only as DL. DL has come forward, standing in front of the public and claiming she was a surrogate, not once, but twice for Meghan. Once for baby Archie, once for baby Lilibet. DL never signed any public contract or had any legal documentation for her surrogacy. Everything was arranged in absolute secrecy, bound by the tightest NDA clauses imaginable. DL described the experience as though she had been dragged into a psychological thriller, taken to an anonymous compound, cut off from all contact, monitored during checkups, giving birth, and then being instantly erased from the narrative. At the time, DL agreed because she believed she was helping a famous woman achieve the joy of motherhood. But everything collapsed after the second birth. Meghan, who had appeared friendly after the first delivery, completely cut all ties as though DL had never existed. No thank you, no message, no acknowledgement that DL was the biological mother of Lilibet and Archie. DL was furious, but she stayed silent. Until now. The final straw came when DL saw Meghan's latest interview in tears, talking about motherhood and how the media had persecuted her. DL said it felt like watching someone wear her skin. Meanwhile, Meghan's PR machine went into overdrive. Right after the British Airways leak, the internet was flooded with warm family moments, smiling children in gardens, sweet essays on motherhood. But netizens weren't so easily fooled. Why can't DL's account be ignored? Because she claims to have proof video footage inside the compound. Ultrasound images with the doctor's name timestamps that align perfectly with the dates Meghan publicly announced her pregnancies. She has hospital records and even internal audio recordings from medical staff. DL said outright, "I'm ready for a DNA test. Test me, test both children, then tell me who's lying." If DL is telling the truth, then everything Meghan has built the image of a resilient mother defying all odds, a feminist icon, is just a staged production, a polished facade for a brand built on deception. And if the foundation is that rotten, then what truth remains in the million-dollar deals? The tear-filled podcasts, the emotional Netflix retrospectives, what if anything is real in any of it? 3. Clear evidence. If the story had ended there, it would have already been enough to blow up the internet. But the deeper people dig, the stranger everything becomes. One of the most heavily revisited moments is a video clip of Meghan stepping down a staircase while pregnant. In the clip, her baby bump suddenly folds in a bizarre way as she bends down like a soft foam block being compressed. At the time, media defenders claimed it was likely due to camera angles or a wardrobe malfunction. But now it's different. In the eyes of many, that was the moment the illusion shattered. The fold was unnatural, biologically implausible, and most importantly, nothing like a real pregnant belly. Fueling the fire even more is how Meghan and Harry managed their children's images. Not a single clear close-up photo was released during the early months. All images were taken from a distance, blurred or captured from angled perspectives. The most famous is a photo showing only a baby's foot resting on an adult's hand. Some online users zoomed in, compared it with various photos of Meghan, and insisted that's not her hand. The skin tone, the fingerprints, the nails, all different. Online communities began reconstructing Meghan's timeline. They uncovered several vague spots, especially around the time Meghan was said to have given birth to baby Lilibet. According to records, she delivered at a hospital in Santa Barbara, but there were no witnesses, no nurses, no doctors, no behind-the-scenes photos. Meghan also didn't appear on camera for several weeks afterward, and when she did return, her body was slim, with no signs of recent childbirth. Even worse, it was discovered that Meghan was seen at the hospital only once, and that was for a photo shoot. A source from the hospital staff, speaking anonymously, revealed she arrived fully made up, took a few photos in the lobby, then left. No birth records, no ambulance, no indicators that an actual delivery had occurred there. Then there's the infamous baby mama dance video that Meghan Markle released to celebrate the birth of her daughter, Lilibet. Shot in what was claimed to be a hospital setting. The video showed Meghan and Harry twerking and dancing gleefully as if part of a reality TV show. The clear intention was to portray a down-to-earth, joyful royal couple. But what they didn't anticipate was that the video would quickly become a symbol of scandal, not because it was cute, but because too many things just felt off. Initially, all of this was dismissed as online conspiracy theory, but the statements and evidence provided by DL made it no longer something that could be easily laughed off. If what she says is true, the entire narrative around the Sussex family could be exposed. And we're not just talking about a private deception. We're not just talking about a tabloid headline. We're talking about royal succession titles and the constitutional legitimacy of the British monarchy. And suddenly, the carefully constructed image of Meghan, a strong mother, a proud victim of media, is no longer untouchable. The paradox lies in the fact that Meghan's entire post-royal career was built on the image of a modern mother. Proud, confident, juggling motherhood and media production. From a $20 million podcast deal to Netflix documentaries and countless PR campaigns, all emphasized the family factor. And yet that very baby mama dance video became the spark that reignited long simmering doubts, the fake bump, the staged hospital, the entire surrogate narrative. Not a single detail stands firm without being called into question. 4. The public was angry and booing. As the wave of suspicion surrounding Meghan Markle intensified, public reaction went far beyond casual discussion. Social media exploded not just because of the sensational nature of the revelations, but because of a deep sense of betrayal. People once cherished the image of a modern mother who rose above royal prejudice, who garnered empathy when she spoke of enduring racism and psychological pressure. But now all those emotions are turning back like a violent storm. On TikTok and Reddit, former supporters of Meghan began digging up old footage, the folding bump video when she bent down, inconsistent baby bump appearances, the visible emotional distance between her and her children in family videos. Every detail has now become evidence to scrutinize. Have we been taken for a ride all these years? One comment liked over 40,000 times asked bluntly. What struck a nerve the most was the feeling of being exploited. Many people openly admitted they had streamed her podcast, watched the Netflix series, bought products under the Archetypes brand, simply because they believed they were supporting a wronged woman rising through strength. But if what's being exposed is true, then Meghan's entire media campaign amounts to nothing less than a global-scale emotional scam. Even the press has changed its tone. Newspapers that once staunchly defended her like The Independent or The Guardian can no longer ignore the mounting questions. Analysis pieces are appearing in droves, no longer focused on anti-Meghan hate, but on verifiability. Why are there no birth records? Why is there no natural, candid, behind-the-scenes footage? Why does everything seem edited and staged? Even those once dismissed as anti-Meghan are now being listened to with a new level of cautious respect. In the medical community, many professionals have begun to challenge the cinematic delivery room imagery Meghan released. An obstetrician in London noted, "No woman in her final weeks of pregnancy would be twerking that vigorously without medical support." That video is scientifically inaccurate and potentially misleading to pregnant women. Those who once hailed her as a symbol of female strength are now feeling conflicted. On the other side, Meghan's defenders cling to one final argument that this is the result of racism, of distorted feminism. But that argument seems to have lost its power, because the issue now isn't about skin color or gender, it's about truth and ethics. No one can use pain as a shield for a meticulously orchestrated campaign built for personal gain. This shockwave continues to ripple through public discourse, because the feeling of betrayal doesn't need a courtroom to be validated. People only need to sense that something doesn't add up, doesn't feel real, to turn away. And in Meghan's world, where everything is filmed, staged, and edited, it is precisely the absence of awkward, exhausted, messy moments, the things that make a mother real, that caused it all to collapse. 5. Will the palace revoke the right of succession? It all began as an undercurrent, but has now turned into a royal-level storm. In London, the palace is no longer staying quiet. Senior advisors are holding emergency meetings urging King Charles to act before things spiral out of control. A close source revealed that one advisor exclaimed, "If we don't get ahead of this story, the monarchy could lose control." This isn't just a personal scandal. It's an unprecedented challenge to ancient traditions that have no rulebook for this kind of crisis. And the royal family's once powerful silence is now being interpreted as fear. King Charles III, long known for his patience and efforts to mend family rifts, can no longer maintain his usual composure. The palace's legal team has been immediately mobilized. They are no longer focused on image control or avoiding scandal. They are combing through every line of the 2013 succession to the Crown Act clauses on bloodline inheritance rights and the legal legitimacy of childbirth. And at the eye of this storm are two names, once spoken with pride, Archie and Lilibet. Currently, these two children still hold royal titles, Prince and Princess, even though they live outside the UK. But if the allegations about uncontracted surrogacy are true, and if Meghan never gave birth to them under UK law, things become extremely dangerous. Titles could be revoked, their place in the line of succession could be erased, and that would be an unprecedented move in the modern history of the Windsor dynasty. In a closed-door meeting held right after the story broke, a senior advisor stated plainly, "We cannot have heirs to the throne unless we can verify they are legitimate descendants." That statement fell into a heavy silence and triggered the first legal steps to contain the risk. But then all eyes turned to one man, Harry. He is the father of the children, the prince born of King Charles's own blood, the man who once claimed to step back from royal duties to protect his family. So now, what is his role? An accomplice in a deceptive narrative, or a victim swept into the vortex of the woman he loves? Harry's silence is no longer about privacy. It has become a point of suspicion. Some believe he knew everything from the beginning and chose to look the other way. Others, more sympathetic, think he's a hostage to a media machine controlled by Meghan. But whatever the truth may be, his silence now stands as a silent indictment. A grave move is being considered, fully stripping Harry of his royal status, not just removing His Royal Highness title, but severing him from the institution itself. No more ceremonial appearances, no place on the Council of Succession, and no symbolic role in the future of the British monarchy. The spotlight now falls entirely on DL. She has refused all lucrative offers from the press TV networks, even publishers. DL wants only one thing: a neutral public DNA test supervised by a third party. No stage, no noise, just the truth. Those children, she says, deserve to know the truth, and so does the public. Because what happens next won't just define the future of Harry and Meghan. It could rewrite the entire royal legacy, not through crowns and ceremonies, but through DNA documents and a secret whose time has come. The shocking revelation from a crew member on the royal flight is only the first puzzle piece in a picture slowly coming into view. As information about surrogate DL and a trove of evidence is gradually released, doubt is no longer relegated to the fringes of gossip. It now stands at the center of an unprecedented royal crisis. Are Archie and Lilibet truly Meghan's biological children? If not, are they still legally in the line of succession? And if all of this is a meticulously crafted media production, who is the real director behind it all? And what about Harry? Is he a victim of an elaborate scheme, or did he know everything and choose silence? Share your thoughts below in the comments. We will continue to update this shocking development with more evidence analysis and reactions from inside the royal circles. If you want to uncover the truth behind the glittering facade, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single twist. Thank you for watching until the end of the video.